time for there to guide from the bottomless pit, but my aim was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help the sing? These songs are
All right. Welcome back to the Everyday People Belize. It's Monday night. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock. And I thought that tonight, I can't miss doing this show. As you guys know, I hear it every week where we talk about, just some of the stuff that is happening in Belize and try to make everybody understand what's going on around us, which is key for us understanding about Belize, understanding what's happening in Belize, and for people who don't know where Belize is, it's in Central America, small country, 400,000 people, maybe less, right? But we do have a vibrant system in place that tries to move us forward, propel us forward in terms of economic growth and everything else. So we're grateful. We're sitting in the Caribbean where everything is nice. A lot of people wish that they were here. When I talk to people outside, they say, "Oh, you're living in paradise," which is true, right? But paradise, of course, has some edging to it that we need to explain to people. So this show is for people who want to know a little bit more about Belize and what's happening, and particularly for the young people to tie in and say, all right, I never understand that. Now I get a sense how to go on, right? And of course, gives you a chance to go out and research and do your homework in terms of what's happening in Belize. Kind of sunburn, we did a nice video shoot yesterday for Maro G. For people who don't know Maro G, he's on my channel, one of the local musicians. Today is the man's birthday, so happy birthday, Maro G. So I just want to big up the man, but we're there again, half an hour segment talking about some of the things that happens in Belize, and I kind of have a packed little schedule for tonight because I was sitting down this morning and looking at everything and saying, what, I have to talk about this, I have to talk about that. And so if you notice in my description, I placed in several things. I say, all right, is the system broken? And so we get to look at something in Belize, some system in Belize, and whether it's broken, and do we own it, and where do we fit into these equations, right? So those are the questions that I'm looking at for tonight. But particularly within the first segment, I want to look at the question is the system broken? And the system that I'm talking about is the land system. So what has been happening is that for the most part what we're seeing is little what they call now land clinics all around, and I brought up some of the pictures from here. I brought up some of the pictures from here to show you guys this was the last land clinic, and you know what, people are excited and I'm happy for them. I didn't get a chance to catch the land clinic here in Punta Gorda. I missed mine, so the image that I am showing you is from the one in San Pedro. And you know what, a lot of people are happy for this. I said, man, I saw a lady almost in tears because she got her land documents finally. And I'm asking myself, like, should I be happy or should I be sad that this is still the process that we're going through to get land? Now, I can't bash the process and say, all right, people are getting things done that makes sense. You can finally get your land paper, and I'm one of those who applied for land 15 years ago and still in the process of getting the whole land production thing going. And so I know the frustration. And so when you hear that the minister is throwing a land clinic or a lands department clinic, I'm like, oh man, perfect. Why don't we get out there and get our land paper? But it would be frustrating for you if you're the working class, because then it means that you have to go and camp out at the clinic all day. So I ask the question, is the system broken? Because when this political party got in, they say, oh, we'll fix that land system, and they started out. I think one of the first things they should have started out with was an audit to know what is happening with all the lands in Belize and who owes what, right? But we're seeing all of that surfacing now. And I'm saying all this to tell you that something is still wrong. Yes, a land clinic is fine. You can get things done during that time or during that day. But don't you think that we should not have a need for any of these land clinics? And it happened here in my own hometown in Punta Gorda. And I'm telling you this so that you know that you can go through the process and visit the land's office, apply for a piece of land, and you'll wait forever. Or what they're telling us is that you can go ahead and apply for the land, and whenever a land clinic comes around, you can go and see the minister and get your land taken care of. Now, this doesn't happen too often. This is only because election has just gone, right? What needs to be fixed, and I'm just saying it so that the message can spread, and so the young people know that we can't allow ourselves to live in the same old system that exists. At some point it needs to change. And what needs to change is that I should not have to see the minister to get an approval on a piece of land. I should not have to go to a land clinic in a particular town or district or village to get my piece of land approved. If the system works, it means then that I can simply go to the office, fill in my application, put in whatever other paperwork are necessary, tell them what I'm going to do with the piece of land, and get it approved. They should not need to see me at a land clinic. I'm thinking that this is where we got it wrong, right? So while I'm happy for those people who got their land approved, I'm still thinking that if we are to fully reform, if we are to fully revisit what was there and say, all right, we want to change this for the betterment of the people, it means then that we have to do something or put something in place that we don't have to visit these type of land clinics anymore. We shouldn't have to see these anymore, where the minister sits down with the mayor or whoever else in the community and say, all right, let's approve his land today, or let's approve her land today. I see a lady, like I mentioned, I see a lady almost in tears. She was so happy for her land, and I'm happy for her, that she got that done during that short period of time. But we should not have to be doing these type of clinic in our community. What will be next? An environmental impact assessment clinic for whatever business you're setting up. So there are things that I know, and you know, and I'm sure you see it. There are things that needs to be changed, right? So the land clinic is definitely not something that I am vying for. While it's impressive that we can still go to our minister and have him sign off on a particular piece of land, let's fix the system, let's get the system working. And I look back at now, I can go to the land department and they can type in a number and see my application process and see, all right, good, Marcel Palmer, man, you have your land pending, you made your payments already, it'll be processed in 2 weeks. That's what they told me last time. That's why I'm saying 2 weeks. But that 2 weeks will never come. And that is just so true. Maybe I have to wait for the next land clinic, right? But these are things that we have to start discouraging. While it works, it means though that you're giving more power to the minister. Of course, it's in our constitution, right? He's the final buck. But it means that you're giving more power to one person. So it means that the process will fail because you're always waiting for that one person to approve whatever you want. So if I'm a serious business person, the saying is that I can go into the lands department, take $500 and get a 1 day processing done. And we have heard this in some of the I call it the charade that they did, where they interviewed several people from the lands department to say that, you know what, if you want that rapidito service, come in and pay the $500 and you get it in 1 day. Now, I can't afford the $500. I'm a poor man, right? So it means then that I have to go in and apply through the entire process and get this thing done slowly. Or I wait until another land clinic comes up and our people accept the land clinic. So we take everything that comes to us and we're happy with it because we say, all right, the man finally gave me lead time, right? they should always have time for us because we are paying the bills. That is just the bottom line, right? And so we really need to change. We really need to make some changes, right? Victor is saying, yeah, it is outdated, right? The lands department, as far as I know, the reform that they did, they are digital now, and so you can see the connection here. My only problem is that you still have to go to Belnopan to get everything done, which means that you still have to see a minister to get everything done, right? Or you still have to see the lands commissioner to get everything done. That needs to change. It means that you're not empowering the people who work in the different areas, or that your database system is failing. Simple as that. Because then they will have to look at certain records and say, oh, maybe Mr. Palmer deserve a 10-acre. I know he applied for 10 years ago. I could give up. Right? That's ministerial discretion. Of course, it's again, it's a part of our rules, right? So part of our laws. Good. So look, reflect on that. Think back if it's something you want. These land clinics, they'll become common. It worked. It worked in San Pedro. People are happy. They came to PG. People are happy. You know, and I think Mr. Cordell, or the Honorable Cordell Hyde, is a stand-up guy. I would like to see more reform when it comes to the lands department and distribution of parcels, or distribution of land in Belize, right? So definitely something we need to keep an eye out for. Speaking of land, and I don't want to touch this one tonight, but I want to share with you guys something that I like. I love seeing when people create stuff, right? And I'm speaking to the communal land system.
The notion of Ralchot is central to who we are as Maya people, central to how we see ourselves, how we see the world, and how we relate to it. Ralchot means we are people of the land, who live on the land, depend on the land, and work and care for the land.
Now, I'm not playing the entire video here, but I want you to know that the video is there on Facebook. It's under the Maya Leaders of Southern Belize. While I have my own reservation when it comes to communal land, I can see where the fight is going for communal land system. And like I mentioned last time in episode 3, I said, all right, communal land is okay if there's a plan to move forward for your people and how do you manage everything and contribute to your country and contribute to everything. So I like the video that was placed out, and it shows the fight that the communal and people are up to. And you know what? I say kudos to them. And I ask myself now, what happened to the other ethnic groups? You guys, again, you're there sitting on your hands, right? Yeah, I mean, you sit on your hands, so you can't do nothing. It means that you don't want to do anything. In order for us to move forward in Belize, and this is for any group, it means that you have to get up and fight. Apparently, that's the only way you get things done in Belize. You have to get up and make some noise, right? So I applaud the group doing the communal land system. It's a very nice, informative video talking about what they want. It's on Facebook, like I mentioned. It's there. I like it. It's powerful, right? It shows some of the cultural activities. I would like to see more of these. I'd really like to see more of these happen for our people. So we need to start moving. I mean, these people are making the moves, you know. They are making sure that they're taking care of their people. Punta Gorda, we need to start taking care of ourselves, and likewise the rest of the country. You know, it's a wake-up call. Somebody mentioned to me, they say, oh man, you know what, I wish that the rest of Belize could be like those people fighting for the communal land down south, right? It's a powerful message you're sending there. They're telling you that, you know what, we can't take this anymore. We need to secure land for our people, right? Can't argue that. Can't argue that. And they're making it known. They're using technology now. I like that. I want to see some of the other groups start doing that, right? And I'm leaning into stories here, you know, as we go along, right? So if we look at that, it takes us into this other segment, and this is touching home now, where there is a certain situation when it comes to the fishermen in Punta Gorda town, looking at their docking station and certain things that they want. So check this out, and I'm stealing this from PGTV's stuff, right? An interview with two fishermen. You know what? they are they're obviously angry. They're angry because the docking station where they place their dories, that has been taken. Um, Now there are two sides to this because some can argue and say that that is private property, right? But we are going back to what I would consider we're going back to the way we anger people, and apparently this and I dare say this PUDP crowd did good, right? You anger people by not listening to them. So you heard the two guys. They went on the local station, right? They expressed themselves. They're sending a message. They're sending a message to our community leader, telling our mayor in particular, we need your help. We need you to look out for us as fishermen. We need you to look out for us as contributors to our society. While we understand that that might be private land, we would appreciate some respect by having you dialogue with us and tell us what's going on so that we can plan differently. And I think that's the message they want to send, right? And we have to start listening to them because it only takes sometimes something like that, to start frustrating people. And so we need to reflect back, Mr. Mayor. You need to reflect on some of the message that your people are sending. Their contribution, they help in feeding us. Fish is a major part of our diet. Right now, and I think something is really wrong. Right now, I think that there's a fish shortage. The way I look at things, I'm like, I gone to market 2 times already, and like, no fish. I had to ask myself if the fisherman stop now, right? But then we have all of these issues happening, and maybe it's time. And I said it in one of my campaign thing, people outside the campaign, but it's time to start building something where our fishermen can house their dories and house their skiffs, and they don't have to be pulling it in every day, but a place that they can feel like they belong, right? So it's time for a docking station. You're saying it right there, Victor. It's time for a docking station, right? But people are saying, well, we're broke, right? It means then you have to involve your fishermen. I'm sure these guys will be happy to contribute whatever they can to get things done. Because I can tell you, they're angry. For me to have, if I was to put myself in their position and I have to move my boat, or I would go there in the evening time and I find big rocks close to my boat where I land, and this is what feeds me, I will get angry. And one of them also actually said that they went and they spoke to I think members of the town council, and they're asking for help. So please, again, I'm just using this avenue to appeal for them. Have a dialogue with these guys. Find out what's going on. Find out if there's something we can do to assist. If there is some other location we can have them place a door, if we can set up some sort of rail system with some pipes that we can pull the dory up from through that area. Remembering that while there may be some reclamation of that land area, that we still, by law, should have 66 feet, right, along the coast that is available for anyone, right, by law. Now, and that is not saying that that part might have been private property. I don't know, right? I think it has been washed in, but I think that the community leaders should step in to give these guys a hand, right? Let me catch up on some of the comments because I feel like I'm talking over, right? So, all right, Victor and Miss Joan, definitely. PG, local commercial fisherman, docking station is needed. We have organizations that can help, and they can apply for international projects. That is true, and I keep saying this, that anything we want, and we are a coastal community, we can ask for assistance. And this is where I think, and I might be wrong here, but this is where you can lean on somebody, NGOs, another organization for help. And not only them, but again, you expect that your local leader, your local community leader in this case, which is the mayor's office, to come in and offer some assistance, right? And again, start the dialogue. It is disheartening when I feel like the people you elect to office don't want to talk to you, and they feel like if they hide that it works. I guess they did it to the teachers union, right? I saw our prime minister hide for the teachers union for a while, and apparently we're gone quiet. But our locals are the minorities, and they're being treated with ultimate disrespect, and that is true, right? These guys can't afford to pay for a docking area, and that is true. So it means then that as a community, we need to step in and we need to assist. Brings me to my third point. The way, when I have several points to make, and hopefully I can bear with me, the way I'm seeing the politicians work now, and it happens, I guess, in a lot of Caribbean countries, is that it's an exploitation of the poor people. So we need to now look at that and say, if this guy is afraid to come and talk to me, how will I dialogue with him in the future? How will I talk to him in the future for something that I want to see change in my community? If he's unapproachable, right, what can I do? If I can't see any of the people that we elect to office, what can I do? And I'm pushing this directly to our area rep in Toledo, right? We have an area rep in Toledo, has won all the elections as far as I can tell. They're in power now, but he's still hiding, right? So how can we then get to approach the Honorable Mike Spot and say, you know what, we need help. How can you help us here in Toledo? How can you represent us and have the rest of the country know that, you know what, Toledo, Punta Gorda needs some assistance in terms of small programs or incentive from the government. This is what we need. I saw, and I'm tying in a bunch of stuff here. I saw a list come out over the week with a bunch of numbers that changed. 4 numbers that changed. And all the numbers of our government officials were smart. And I got to thinking, I said, but don't we own BTL? Why would we go and invest in smart? And then somebody told me, I said, oh, but the Prime Minister owns smart. So that's the kind of system we're living in, right? So our people are taking this, standing up, Because we know to sit down again, we stand up, but we take it, right? And when I say we take the blue coat, we take the blue coat for true, right? We, as a people, we don't own Smart. Smart is a private company. As a government, as a people, we own BTL, we own Digi. Why the hell would we change over to Smart for our government offices? Are we looking for expense, or are we trying to save money? Right? The largest network, Digi. But apparently, and I don't point me out on this, but I think our government offices might soon change the internet service provider to the Smart. It will happen if we're having all of these numbers change, right? And we're paying this large bill over to Smart, then something is definitely wrong. And we're doing it, and you know what? Nobody's making any noise. It's okay. Apparently, in today's day and age, it's okay to do as you wish in our country, right? I saw the news thing just now. Somebody put up on social media that they were sending the police officers home. One of the main officers went online and said, oh, that's a lie, police officers are all over the place. Now, we don't know if that is true. I don't know if it's true, but what I've been reading on social media is that some of them were sent home because they were not vaccinated, right? Again, you know what? Social media could be a nice, terrible lie, or it could be the nice truth hidden on a social network, right? So, again, point is that whenever election comes around, politicians will exploit us, and I'm thinking about How many people got offered money for votes and they took it, and now the politician is hiding from them? And it reminds me of a scenario. Somebody said it earlier. They say we are political parasites, meaning that as soon as the politician say we, he feel that we want something, so he run for away. Can't talk to we. You see Marcel, they come, oh, he must say want to beg me for $20, so he run, right? Maybe that is what our rep is doing. He's running from us so that we don't see him, because he considers us parasites. And anytime he say we need something or we want something, well, I tell you, the only thing we want from him is representation. And so we're calling out on him to represent us, right? So they always feel like we want something. Yes, we want representation for the South. Good. So we took a look at the land system again as a reminder. These land clinics, while they're good, I still think that we can do more in terms of reform for the land system itself, and so that I don't have to go all the way to Belmopan to get things done. I don't have to see a minister to get things done. Let's have the system work for us. Somebody mentioned, or Ms. Palmer mentioned, the vital stats, and that is true. I have applied for my birth paper about 3 times. They told me to call Belize City, and I did, and I got the run around on the phone, and I just kind of gave up on it. I said, you know what, I lived at Belize and I plan to travel right now. But apparently birth paper is difficult to get to. But I know some people are making it a business, right? And so that might be open, that you can get your birth paper through one of these avenues. If not, then you have to go all the way to Belize City. Now, I asked the guy here, I said, all right, but can you check if my application actually went in? And he said, yes, your application went in. It should have come down to, should have been here in PG, but I think you'll have to go all the way to Belize City. And then I asked, but can't you just press print there and my birth paper will come out there? Oh, it doesn't work like that. We can see it, but we can't print it. That's a broken system, and that can be easily mended, right? But the question is, do they want to change it? I don't think they do, right? So that is where we're left. This becomes then a fight for the younger people. If you want to see changes in your country, it means then that you have to stand up and let them know that you have a voice too. Because sometimes, you know what, the old people, and I'll put myself in their category now, the older folks sometimes don't know what is right, and you know, we have to shift and have to start something new. And I come back to the I heard the education minister this morning with the PSE stuff, and finally I think they'll get rid of PSE. Nothing wrong with an examination, you know, but there needs to be check and balances at all different stages of education. Not only when you're done standard 16, you look for the exam, and if you fail, you still go to high school. If you pass, you still go to high school. I mean, if you fail the PSE, you got a really low grade, it reflects and say something is wrong. It means that you didn't complete certain things in your education that was needed. What I hope they put in place is a check at each level. So before you go to standard 1, so standard 1 to standard 2, there are certain things you need to know. Standard 4 to standard 5, there are certain things you need to know, and likewise at the high school level. But again, that's a large reform. I think education was, and this is my opinion, I think education was moving in the right direction for some parts, and there are some things that need to be changed. But when I saw the smirk this morning on the, they were on channel 5, the education minister smirked like if everything was just wrong. I was like, you have no idea what you're talking about. And so reform is necessary, I guess, in all aspects or all departments. But that's where I want to end this tonight. Exactly at half an hour, right? Again, I do appreciate all the comments as they come in. I'm streaming on Facebook under bapplay and YouTube under Marcel Palmer. And again, just want to wish Maro G a happy birthday, and nice to have you guys here with me. And I'll see you next week, Monday, on the Everyday People Belize.